Let me tell you something most women will never admit out loud. We don't just fall in love with men, we select them. And that selection process isn't random, romantic, or purely emotional like movies make it look. It's instinctual, it's biological, it's deeply psychological. We're constantly scanning for cues: strength, confidence, certainty, and value. Not money or looks alone, value, the kind that says, I'm a man. Other men respect and other women notice. That's the truth behind how women choose who to give their energy, attention, and heart to. Now, this might sound harsh, but women are wired for natural selection. Just like in nature, we're drawn to the male that stands out, the one who makes us feel safe, challenged, and emotionally stirred. And here's the twist: the more emotionally stable and self assured a man is, the more chaos and unpredictability will often bring to test that. Because subconsciously, we're looking to feel his strength, not just hear about it. You see, men often think attraction is built through logic, by being nice, consistent, or available. But for women, attraction is born through emotion, and emotion is triggered by contrast. That's why the guy who seems just a little out of reach often gets chosen over the one who's always available. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how women subconsciously select the men they want to be with, what makes them crave one man over another, what signals they read instantly, and why the men they choose are almost never the ones who try too hard. By the end, you'll understand what really makes a woman decide you're the one she wants, not just for attention, but for connection, attraction, and respect. 1. Women don't choose with logic, they choose with emotion. Women don't choose with logic, they choose with emotion. Here's the first truth most men struggle to accept: a woman's decision about you is rarely logical. It's emotional. She might say she wants a nice guy, a loyal man, or someone stable. And sure, those things matter. But when it comes to who she actually feels drawn to, who she can't stop thinking about, or who she gives her energy to, it's the man who makes her feel something. Women live through emotion. It's how we experience attraction, connection, and desire. You can check every box on paper, but if she doesn't feel that spark, that emotional pull, it won't matter. She'll rationalize it later, but her body and emotions always make the first decision. Think about it like this: a woman can meet two men at the same time. One is polite, respectful, and gives her everything she says she wants. The other doesn't try too hard, keeps his cool, and makes her a little uncertain about how he feels. She'll think about the second man more, not because she's shallow, but because he triggered her emotions. He made her feel alive. It's not manipulation, it's nature. Women are emotionally driven creatures. We respond to how a man makes us feel about ourselves when we're around him. Does he make us feel desired, curious, a little off balance in a good way? That's the chemistry most men underestimate. The men who understand this don't chase emotion. They create it through their presence, their calm confidence, their unpredictability, the way they listen without seeking validation, the way they walk away when something doesn't serve them. A woman reads that as emotional power. And that's magnetic to us because deep down we are not looking for the man who needs us. We're looking for the man who moves us. That's how selection begins. Not with logic, not with words, but with how a man makes a woman feel in his presence emotionally, energetically, and instinctively. 2. Women instinctively. Women instinctively sense which men have options. Sense which men have options. Here's something most men don't realize. Women can feel when a man has options, even if he never says a word about it. It's not about bragging or showing off. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're not desperate for anyone's approval. That energy alone changes everything about how a woman experiences you. When a man has options, he moves differently. He's not anxious. He's not trying to prove himself. He listens, he observes, and he decides whether she fits into his life, not the other way around. That's the energy that flips the dynamic. Because when a woman senses that kind of presence, her instincts kick in. She wants to win that man's attention. She becomes curious, more feminine, more invested. You have to understand, women are biologically wired to seek men who other women desire. It's ancient psychology. We're drawn to social proof because it signals that a man has value. If other women want him, he must have qualities worth competing for: confidence, emotional strength, status, or simply that subtle charm that can't be faked. This doesn't mean you should play games or pretend to be someone you're not. It's not about manipulation, it's about mindset. A man who genuinely values himself doesn't settle for a woman just because she's pretty or gives him attention. He chooses with discernment. That alone changes how women treat him. When a woman feels that you could have her but you're not chasing her, it challenges her. It makes her step up. It makes her respect you. Because deep down, women don't want the man who's easily available. We want the man who's selective, the one who makes us wonder, what does he see in me that makes me stand out? So when you carry yourself like a man who has options, it's not arrogance, it's quiet self-respect. That energy triggers a woman's natural instinct to choose you back. Because now you're not competing for her approval, she's competing for your attention. That's how attraction flips. Not with words or effort, but with energy. 3. Women don't choose men based on love, they choose based on value. Women don't choose men based on love, they choose based on value. This might sound harsh, but it's the truth most men don't want to hear. Women don't select men purely out of love. They choose based on value. Emotional connection comes later. At the start, what matters is how you make her feel and whether she sees you as a man who can add to her life, not depend on her for validation. When a woman first meets a man, she's scanning, not consciously, but instinctively. She's reading your energy, your posture, your confidence, how you carry yourself, how you react under pressure, because those things reveal something deeper, your internal worth. She's asking herself, is this man strong enough to lead himself? Can I respect him? Would I feel safe or proud to stand next to him? You can be good-looking, kind, or successful, but if she senses that you need her attention to feel like a man, it's over. Women might entertain that kind of man for a moment, but they won't select him, because from her perspective, a man who depends on her approval is already showing weakness. And here's the truth. Attraction for women is rarely about physical appearance alone. It's about emotional gravity, that unspoken sense that you don't need her, but you want her, because she fits into the life you're already building. That's what makes a woman invest. That's what makes her choose. Men often think being nice, available, or endlessly accommodating will make a woman want them. But that's not how female psychology works. A woman doesn't want to complete you. She wants to join you. She wants to feel like she's stepping into something solid, something grounded, something real. That's why some women will reject a man who treats them perfectly, yet chase the one who challenges them emotionally. It's not that she loves chaos, it's that she craves a man who stimulates her emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The man who stands firm when she tests him, the man who holds his frame when she pushes boundaries. That's who she feels drawn to. 4. Confidence is the real currency. Women respond to confidence is the real currency. Women respond to. If you want to understand how women choose, you have to understand confidence. Not the fake, loud, show-off kind, but the quiet, grounded confidence that says, I know who I am and I'm good either way. That's the kind of man women are naturally drawn to. It's the energy that separates those who get attention from those who get chosen. See, a confident man doesn't chase because he doesn't believe anyone is above him. He doesn't need to convince a woman of his worth. He simply shows up as himself. That's attractive because confidence communicates certainty, and certainty makes a woman feel safe, relaxed, and more feminine around you. The opposite happens with insecure men. When a guy is constantly trying to prove himself or when he gets visibly anxious about what a woman thinks, she loses attraction fast, because to her, that's not strength, that's instability. And no woman wants to emotionally depend on a man who can't emotionally depend on himself. Confidence also changes how you handle rejection, silence, or uncertainty, all the things that naturally test men in dating. When you have confidence, you don't see rejection as a personal attack. You see it as redirection. You don't chase after clarity from a woman who's pulling away. You let her go because you trust your value. And that's exactly why confident men attract women without even trying. They're calm when others panic. They're secure when others compete. They move with quiet dominance, not because they're trying to be alpha, but because they don't need to prove it. Women test men all the time, often subconsciously. We do it to see if your emotions are stronger than ours. When you don't flinch, when you don't argue, when you stay relaxed and grounded, that's when attraction deepens. It's like our instincts whisper, "This one can handle me." But when you crumble at the first sign of emotional pressure, when you start explaining, defending, or begging for her attention, that's when she emotionally disconnects. Because deep down, confidence isn't just about ego, it's about stability. Women want to feel emotionally safe with a man, and nothing feels safer than someone who's solid, no matter what mood, the subtle power of indifference she's in. 5. The subtle power of indifference. There's something magnetic about a man who can genuinely stay indifferent, not in a cold or dismissive way, but in that calm, grounded way that says, "I'm not easily moved." Women feel it instantly because emotional indifference, when it's real, signals one thing: control. And emotional control is one of the most masculine energies a woman can experience from a man. Imagine this: a woman starts pulling back. She's less responsive, slower to reply, maybe acting distant. Most men panic. They double text. They try to fix whatever went wrong. They chase the connection to make her feel close again. But the man who stays calm, who doesn't chase, doesn't question, doesn't fold, instantly separates himself. Because that stillness communicates that his emotions aren't dependent on hers. That's what women find powerful. We notice it and it shakes us because it breaks the pattern. We expect you to chase. We expect you to over-explain, to try harder, to fill the silence. But when you don't, when you stay centered and live your life like nothing's changed, that indifference creates curiosity. It makes us wonder if we lost something valuable. And it's not about pretending not to care. It's about genuinely being okay with whatever outcome comes next. The man who can let go gracefully is the man women come back to because he's showing something rare. He values peace over validation, and that's a kind of strength women crave but rarely find. When a woman senses indifference from a man, it forces her to reflect. She starts replaying everything. Did I mess up? Did he lose interest? Has he moved on? That's when her emotions start to shift, because indifference gives her space to feel your absence. And that's when attraction often reignites. But here's the truth most men miss: you can't fake indifference. Women can feel when you're pretending not to care while secretly obsessing over her. Real indifference comes from emotional discipline, when you truly understand that her presence doesn't define your worth. 6. Why women test. Why women test men, and what those tests really mean. Men and what those tests really mean. Every man who's ever dated a woman has been tested, sometimes subtly, sometimes openly. But here's what most men don't realize: those tests aren't about manipulation or control, they're about clarity. A woman tests you to see who you really are beneath the surface. When a woman starts testing you, pulling back, teasing, disagreeing, or pushing emotional buttons, she's trying to see what kind of man you are when you're under emotional pressure. Are you grounded or reactive, secure or insecure, stable or easily rattled? Because the truth is, any man can act confident when everything is easy. But women want to know what happens when it's not. That's why your reaction to her tests matters more than anything you say. If you get defensive, angry, or overly sensitive, she knows your confidence isn't solid. It's fragile. But if you stay calm, composed, and lightly playful, she feels something very different: safety. Because your energy tells her, "No matter how emotional things get, I'm not losing myself." You have to understand, women don't test the men they're not interested in. We test the ones we feel something for. It's instinctive. It's how we measure whether we can trust your emotional strength. Can you stay steady when we're moody, distant, or uncertain? Because that's when we actually start to respect you. When a man fails a woman's test, she doesn't always leave, but she loses a bit of attraction, because every time she sees you overreact, She feels less safe in your presence. She starts thinking, if he can't stay calm with me, how will he handle life when things get hard? On the other hand, when you pass her tests, not by playing games, but by standing firm in your peace, something shifts. She softens. She becomes more feminine, more open, because she realizes she can finally relax. She's with a man who won't get emotionally pulled around by her moods. 7. Stop trying to. Stop trying to impress women. Start making them respect. You impress women. Start making them respect you. Let me be brutally honest for a second. Most men are out here trying to impress women, and that's exactly why women don't take them seriously. Because when you're trying to impress a woman, you're putting her on a pedestal. You're saying your validation is more important than my self-respect. And the moment she feels that, she loses attraction. Women don't fall for men who try to win them. We fall for men who make us earn their respect. That shift changes everything because respect always comes before real attraction. A woman might play with a man she doesn't respect. She might flirt. She might entertain him, but she'll never choose him long term. You have to stop trying to be liked and start focusing on being respected. That means setting boundaries. That means not agreeing with everything she says just to avoid conflict. That means saying no when something doesn't align with your values. You'd be shocked how many men lose women because they refuse to stand firm in what they believe. Here's what most men don't see. Women are constantly watching how you carry yourself. When she cancels plans, do you accept it like nothing happened, or do you calmly call it out and walk away? When she disrespects you, do you let it slide, or do you hold your ground with composure? Those small moments tell her exactly who you are. And when she sees that you're not afraid to lose her over your standards, that's when she truly respects you because now she knows your self-worth doesn't depend on her attention. That's power. That's masculine energy in its purest form. Stop thinking you have to perform for women. The moment you do that, you give your power away. A real man doesn't perform. He embodies. He moves with quiet certainty. He knows his value, and he doesn't need a woman to conclusion. Remind him of it. Here's the hard truth most men don't want to face. Women don't fall for the nice guy. We appreciate him. We might even like him, but we don't choose him. We choose the man who stands out, the man who challenges us, grounds us, and makes us feel something real. It's not because women are cruel or complicated. It's because deep down, every woman wants to feel safe, excited, and led. And only a man with self-respect, emotional control, and quiet strength can do that. That's why women naturally filter men. It's not just about looks or charm. It's about how you make her feel about herself when she's around you. If she feels more feminine, more secure, more inspired, you've already won. Men often think attraction is about trying harder, saying more, doing everything right, but it's actually about doing less and being more. More self-assured, more calm, more disciplined, more selective. When you embody that energy, women can't help but respond because it's rare, it's powerful, and it stands out in a world full of men begging for attention. So here's the final message. Stop chasing, stop explaining, stop performing, start being, start living in a way that says, I know my worth, and I'm not afraid to walk alone until the right woman recognizes it. That mindset alone puts you in the top 1% of men. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed how women seem more drawn to you when you stop trying so hard? Or have you experienced that shift when you finally started putting yourself first? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'll be there reading and responding. Because here's the truth. Women don't just want a man who wants them. We want a man we can respect. And once you become that man, women don't select you. They gravitate toward you every single time.